All right, welcome to the Aqua Files, the Pure Water Pod. We're two water experts, Brian and Spencer, and we just dive into the world of drinking water, purification, filtration, contamination, and everything in between. I'm Spencer, that's Brian, and today we're joined by
the one and only.
The one and only.
Yeah, how do you want to do this?
We've talked about you a lot, like on other pods.
Man, I hope I'm not going to disappoint now.
No.
Usually bad. Like,
you're probably going to disappoint.
Why is he not here?
I think
Is he working?
Our main intro had you in it, and you were never here.
Yeah, we had an intro that had his name built into his company. So we'll talk about why things changed. But let's introduce Brady from Pulse Plumbing Solutions and Pulse Plumbing Solutions. We're taking that other part out.
You can keep that part in
We can
there.
keep it in? We can.
Yeah.
And Escort Services. So
Thanks for
Brady-
having me on, guys.
No problem.
To my favorite water quality homies. This is awesome.
We're so happy you're here finally.
Yeah.
I'm so
It's
glad
true.
to be here.
Man.
I mean, I guess the other plumber that you've been talking about, he must have been pretty good for you to keep talking about him that much.
Yeah, he was good. He was
Sorry you got me now.
He's all right.
good. He was good.
Mario was busy.
Yeah. So we'll let you tout yourself a little bit
Let's
here.
hear about Pulse
Yeah,
Plumbing.
tell us-
Really?
Tell us
Yeah.
about you.
You want to hear it?
Yeah, tell us about
There's
you.
a lot of good stuff here. So I'm Brady. I own Pulse Plumbing Services. I started this last year with a hope, a couple pennies, and some plumbing knowledge. And we've been steadily growing. We've been busy. And so if you wonder where I'm at, it's usually because I'm in a crawl space somewhere or got my hands stuck down a drain. So it's just been a fun ride trying to figure out how to run a business and incorporate what I know as in the plumbing world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you say you started this last year, but you've been a plumber for
12 years.
12 years.
Yeah.
I was
We're
gonna
getting
say-
old, man.
Because
We're really getting old because I think we're 10 years older than you.
You are.
my goodness. But,
You're old.
That's right.
yeah, because from our perspective, 1 year sounds crazy because you're one of the best, if not the
Yeah.
best plumber we've worked with. We've worked with a lot of plumbers.
Yeah, it's just one of the best. The best.
I don't want to upset anybody else that might hear us in the future that becomes better than you. Like if we meet a better one, you know? What
No.
if that happens?
I like to strive from the bottom, so keep me there.
So at the moment, the best.
Okay, I like
Yeah,
that.
at the moment.
So what does Pulse Plumbing do? What do you like to work on when you're doing plumbing? What are your specialties? What are you looking? Yeah.
Yeah, so we're a residential service company. So anybody that owns a house, we do anything plumbing,
Okay.
from water to drains to making sure things go down the drains, replacing them, even gas. So we deal a lot with we have an odor in the house.
Yeah.
Where's that coming from? So anything you can think of that touches water and where it goes, we handle it.
Okay.
What do you think about dude wipes?
I love it. Dew wipes are amazing.
If you're out listening, use
If I-
dude wipes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
As a plumber, I hope everybody's using dude wipes.
Buy-
It keeps
buy
me
dude
busy. Any non-toilet paper flushable wipes are not flushable.
No.
They will get stuck in your pipe, and then you will need me to come out and clear them out. But if you haven't heard that part, just keep using them.
Yeah, so maybe we'll get a sponsorship from Dude Wipes for this episode.
Or a lawsuit.
Or a lawsuit. Yeah. We'll see.
Whatever comes first.
We'll see. I just remember that from one of your presentations that I saw, and I thought that I always think about that. I think
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that most of my days.
When you're sitting there about to use toilet paper.
Not to use a
Man,
dude wipe.
Dude, I
to pull out
is this
the
a good
XL.
idea? I'll go left to the dry stuff.
To the dry stuff, please.
dry stuff.
For you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've worked with Brady a lot, especially the past 2 years.
Yeah.
How long have we been working together? We've been working together for
I guess
a while.
it's been a year and a half
Yeah.
that I started this, and we started working together almost the same
away.
time that I started.
Yeah, because we were looking for plumbers who really would listen to what we needed, because our system's a little bit different. We want to take it to the entire house, right after the main. We want to cut off, treat everything, and you would not believe the amount of fights we had with plumbers. Oh, you can't do that, and we're no, we can, and we
We're
should.
only doing hot.
Yeah. Or we'd run into a house like the Blankenships where everything was plumbed in backwards. Anyway, we ended up finding Brady, and it's been he's seriously if you're looking for a plumber, he's the one to use. He really is.
And you're one of the plumbers that one of the only plumbers that really understands water contamination, water filtration, why it's important.
Yeah. And understood what we were doing and got excited with us. Like most, like seriously, like a fight. Like, no, like you got to take it to the hospital. No, you want to do a loop? I'm like, no. And like, so when we talked to you, I remember we took you to lunch and like, you're like, oh, you got excited with this. It was just, it's been awesome.
Well, and I think that's the best part about what I do.
Yeah.
And it's finding partnerships with other people who do other high quality professional trades. And they're really good at it, because when I go into a customer's house, like you are a family member of mine, like you are very important to me. And so whatever I do has to be of the highest quality, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm passionate about taking care of people. So if I'm going to install water softeners, like I have to install the right system. I have to make sure I put the right system in there, and I'm not doing a disservice to them. And so I'm a little bit nerdy when it comes to water quality, and I love it because it is a huge part of health and well-being and taking care of the plumbing in your house as well. And so when I found you guys, that was the thing that interested me the first. One of the first things that interested me was how important water quality is to you and what is in the water.
Yeah.
And that's why I think this relationship is so beneficial, is I can go out and I can test, a little bit, but I don't have the capabilities that you guys have, and I don't have the know-how that you guys have. And so it's awesome to rely to you guys as experts to say, what is in my customer's water? And then thank you, let's build a system for them. Let's go put it in the house now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, so when you go into a house, like you walk into a house, they start talking to you about like some issues they're having. Like what are you looking for as far as like water softener? Like when would you recommend one? When would you, is there ever a time that you wouldn't recommend a softener as a plumber?
Not typically, but let's use a water heater as an example. Yeah. So if a water heater fails, there's a couple of reasons. The reason I don't like is it just failed. Happens.
Just stop working.
That happens. But like I always think of like, why is it happening? Mm-hmm. Like I can fix anything, and I can make sure it doesn't happen for now. But I can't promise it won't happen again if I don't find the symptom of it.
Yeah.
And so with water heaters, I'm looking at water pressure. Mm-hmm. I'm making sure that that's not too high, because high, water pressure is like high blood pressure in your body.
Right.
It just causes so many problems. It could be that certain code items are not put on the water heater, but then the other conversation is now those are taken care of. What's your water look like?
Yeah.
And so then we talk about, do you have hard water? How often have you flushed this water heater? Has all this hard water and contamination been sitting in the bottom of your water heater, just rotting this thing away? Mm. So we always look at, what's causing it, and water quality, 9 times out of 10, when I'm in a customer's house, always comes up, because there's always something that's causing it. And if water quality is part of that issue, I have to make sure I check that box.
For sure. So when you, like, and I know part of your service that you do is like you do like water heater flushes, you do that. Do you still need to do that if you have a water softener?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Friend to friend, you could probably go every other year. A tankless is more important to be flushing than just a standard tank water heater, because it has so many components that can foul up. But if you have a good water quality system, you could probably go every other year, but you still should, because things can still potentially build up on the inside of these things.
And that's a good thing to also have a plumber do as well. Even though like you can do your own, but like if there is an issue there, sometimes like, I've called Brady, like, I don't know what's going on. And like, just like he sees things before before I would or before we would.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When it comes to plumbing, like we are, you're light years ahead of us. You see things that we have no idea. That's how it works. And we know quite a bit about plumbing. Like we're dangerous. That's how we know enough to be real dangerous. But we've done some really interesting jobs with you.
Yeah, we've done a lot of fun ones.
We spent the better part of a whole day down in a well vault in freezing cold Fairview Canyon together.
I asked Brian, do you ever look at your life and go like, how did I get here?
Why am I here?
How am I in Fairview, 2 hours away from my house, in a bunker in the middle of a field that has
below
nothing?
Freezing.
And for this podcast, we're going to take the video. I took videos in that bunker, and so I've got them. So I'm going to make sure we put them in. But why were we down there?
Why are we putting 4 water filtration systems that are 8 feet tall, 7 feet tall, by 2 feet wide
They were
in a bunker?
Yep.
That was
that
wild.
barely fit down the hole.
Barely
like,
fit down the hole. It was the
Reach the
hole. The
sides.
hole was 22 inches.
Yeah,
No,
24.
24. And those tanks were 23. So like we had no space. And Brian's dropping these tanks, 7-foot tanks, down onto me in the in there. I'm like, if I get hit, knocked out, you can't come get me out.
No,
You should just put
leave
the
you
lid
there.
on.
Yep.
Leave me.
Let Brady find you when he comes.
But I mean, why were we even doing that job? That
Yes.
was a weird one.
So that one had arsenic. That one had what else? Oh, it was
Hydrogen sulfide. So
That was the biggest concern. And like this, it's a development they're doing out in Fairview, and they're going to do 7 big homes on it.
on one well.
On
so
one well.
One well is going to feed 7 mansions.
And I don't know who it was that had the idea to like treat all of them
It was Brady.
with one
wasn't my
find you
idea.
rather than each individually, which is what I recommended. Like, why don't we treat each home individually? Anyway, this is what they decided to do, and we called in our favorite plumber for the easy ones.
Well, because we found out, to do this, like
Yeah.
to feed 7 mansions with how much water they need and to take out that much hydrogen sulfide and whatever other contaminants we find in the test, they need 100 gallons a minute.
Available.
So that what was that? Was that a 2-inch or 4
It was
inch?
It's a 2-inch.
Yep.
Line.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong. The builder and the developer
Yeah.
are different people,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
the developer couldn't even sell that land
Until it was treated.
because
Like,
it
that
was
the
so
main
bad.
thing,
Yeah,
It smelled
And so we had
bad.
to treat it
To
so
build
they
the
could
cell.
build.
Yep.
Yeah. And so we end up in weird jobs like that where we can't just get your favorite plumber from down the road like to do that job. I just won't trust them because this is high contaminant removal. This is big stuff. And
The shark bites wouldn't
Brady,
work.
you came in and nailed it. The only thing you didn't nail is I think you forgot your battery.
Yeah. We won't mention that again. We won't talk about that.
It's just sitting on your counter.
You know what's better than making one trip to Fairview? Making
I thought-
2 trips
I think it
to
was just
Fairview.
Taking the family down the second time.
Yeah. And Fairview's not close. Like
No,
Fairview's
2 hours away. I thought
hours
for
away.
sure by taking the battery out, putting it on my counter, charging it so it's good for the next day, right where I'm going to see it the next morning, it would be the best idea. And obviously,
you just need
That
it for
didn't
what?
work.
Your power press? What do you need it for?
yeah, the Pro Press.
The Pro Press.
Yeah.
The Pro Press. Yeah, that's no big
The
deal.
Power Press.
You-
I like that.
Power Press.
That's awesome.
That's just what we call
That's what you
Brady.
do at the gym.
That's what we do at the gym later after we do the well job together. Power press. But
Yeah, we see jobs like where you need your expertise, especially like I'm thinking like the Blankenships, like that house, like it was just plumbed backwards, literally from the beginning. And Brady was able to like not only fix what
Is-
what was installed backwards originally, but also fix some other stuff for them that made their whole house just better.
well, and that affects us drastically because our
Yep.
customer thinks that our products
System.
aren't working.
And they
our
weren't.
products were
Yeah.
working. We just doesn't. It's not going to the right place because of the original plumbing, and so we can't do
Yeah.
anything about that.
Yeah.
You had to figure it out, and it was. Was it easy?
Well, in this case, for the Blankenships, they had a 3D printout of the house, and so we could see kind of water lines. But we didn't know that initially, and so we hooked it in the right way, and we had water treatment going to almost everywhere in the house, except for a few other places. So we were able to find that, and then trace out on the ceiling in the bedroom that was adjacent to the mechanical room where those lines were going, cut the ceiling, and run pipes all the way from the water main back to the system and then back to the main feed. So it's good now, but it took a lot of know-how to figure out where to run those lines.
Man, good memories. Lots of good memories with Brady. I'm going back through my memory bank of all the weird jobs we've given Brady.
Yeah, the first one I remember actually was
Chubby's
everybody's
basement?
laughing. Yeah, the first job we ever did together, and there's a phrase that Brian has coined, patent, and
Yeah.
shirts and hats, memorabilia will be made around it.
This is Brian saying.
And it is should be an easy job.
Should be an easy one.
Should be an easy one.
Should be an easy one, Brady. He
So-
calls Brady every time he's on the phone with Brady.
What Brady needs
Yes.
to know is if I'm calling him, it's not going to be an easy one. That's why
Get everything you need and then some, because it will not be easy.
But
Yeah, should be an easy one.
So it was a Chubby's down in Payson, and we got there, and the ceilings were 12-foot ceilings, a commercial building, and it had a bunch of copper that we had to sort through where to tie in, and it was 30 feet one direction, 30 feet back.
Yep.
And that was a fun one. Yeah.
I'm still not 100% sure that we're not treating the other businesses in that building
There's
for them.
40% chance we are.
They got free treated water.
I feel like I did
over
really
at
good at
Maurice's.
tracing it and getting it in the right spot.
So
but
you're
you may
welcome,
have.
Crumble, for the free water
Maurice's?
treatment. Yeah,
Asian buffet?
that Chubby's is paying for you. But we did that one. I mean, you've been down in the crawl space where we had to haul out a boulder. It was actually not a boulder. It was a brine tank full of hardened salt. Do you remember that?
I don't. What was this
Wow,
one?
I'm glad you
Yeah,
forgot
you remember.
because it was heavy.
I tried to block it out. of
And then
my
we had to
memory,
go back,
probably.
remember, because the drain tube was kinked.
Oh, yeah. This is we installed
Basement,
the carbon and the softener in the crawl space.
See, maybe I'm the only one that's a wuss that like remembers how hard it was to get.
Spencer's usually not there when Brady and I are working.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm usually at the computer. They don't put me in the field very often because I'm like, why are we taking out this 500-pound piece of rock salt?
Or
just leave it down there.
Unless we're in Fairview and we need lunch.
Yeah,
And then
Spencer
Spencer
can
shows up.
provide that.
that's true. I'm your door dasher a lot of the times.
Yeah, it seems like we're usually lifting something heavy or
Yeah.
pushing something. But yeah,
Well, I mean, you
We
did
get
a
creative.
phenomenal job on the apartment complex.
Yeah.
That job looks great. In fact, I also have video of that job if we want to show off like what you look like. Like, so we have before and after pictures of you. Like now that you've been working out, you know.
Uh-oh. The apartment complex. Are you talking about
Yes.
the one in Provo?
no,
No,
the one
in
in
Eagle Mountain.
Saratoga.
Oh, yeah. That one was crazy.
That one was crazy.
Um,
So that was what, 210K?
210K softeners.
that's the reason why I started to work out, was just so I can move your systems around.
Dude. Yeah, watching you do that pro press was one of my core memories. Dude, Brady up there with the pro press.
Yep.
That one was a fun one because most of the time I'm in a crawl space or working in a wall, and I'm still a perfectionist. Like I want it to look good,
Right.
even though. And you guys have gotten on me for this. Like Brady, no one's gonna see this, and I'm like, I know, but like I care about it so much. Like if it looks good, it's gonna work well, and like I'm just a perfectionist, right? So like most of the time I'm working in a place where no one's gonna see it.
Yep.
But that one was fun because it's in a highly trafficked stairwell.
2-inch
And so,
copper.
Yeah, when everybody walks
shiny.
by, they're gonna be like, "That is
Yeah.
so cool."
It looks fancy. Like,
So,
it looks like Willy Wonka's factory right at the bottom of that stairwell. I'm like, they don't know what's happening, but we're softening their water. That's what we're doing. So
I wonder how they like that. I need to reach out and see.
yeah, we should.
Talk to Kobe yesterday.
I mean, that one was
Yeah.
a trip because the property manager was wrong about the plumbing. So we shut off.
That's
we shut
right.
off a doctor's office and a Jamba Juice.
Yeah, it was a vet clinic. It was a it was a
smoothie shop.
Yeah, it was a smoothie shop, and,
And
then
the taqueria,
half of the taqueria.
half of the taqueria. So the other half had water.
Yeah, they told us where to shut it off. We cut it off, started piping, and then everybody just went, "Hey!" They were like, "Whoa, where's our water at?"
They're like, we need water. I'm like, for smoothies? Why are you using water?
For your vet clinic?
For your vet clinic? But that was not our fault. That
No,
was
it was not, but
that
we
was
did
not
it
our
right.
fault. You fixed it so fast. I think they were down for like an hour, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah, we temped it in place because we did the entire job, and then we were like 7 inches short on copper. So we temped it and had to come back and
oh yeah,
finish it.
That was a 2-dayer.
that was a 2-dayer.
That was a fun one.
But I mean, the reason they wanted that kind of system in that apartment complex is to save money for the owners of that
Yeah.
property.
Yeah.
Because how much money are we saving them? We're saving them a ton.
Well, they were running into issues because their water in Eagle Mountain is really hard. Anything on that west side, anything on the west side of
insane.
It's like
I-15
drinking
is
sand.
super hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they were running into issues with the dishwashers, washing machines, and those were all put in by the actual owner of the building. And I think they started running numbers, being like, "Oh, if we have to go in and replace all these different appliances, it
and they
would
had
be better."
those were small spaces. Did they have tankless water heaters too? They were really small spaces.
I don't know.
I think they probably
I would
did.
assume.
There were little electric water heaters.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So which is even probably more important
Yeah.
because they have two elements that can get burnt out pretty quick.
yeah. So the
Water.
cost savings of like making sure that's soft are huge.
Yeah,
for
cost
a
savings are
property like
huge.
that.
Well, and we were working with a property manager over there that deals with a lot of properties, and he has a great mindset. And I know you guys had Mike on a previous podcast, Mike McEwen.
Oh, Mike McEwen.
And
Why are you going to
he
talk
has
about
the same-
Colby?
Yeah, he has the same
I like
kind of
Colby.
concept.
Yeah.
Where how can we prevent things from happening? And so, like when you talk about water quality and water softeners, you either have a lot of landlords that are like, "Oh, it's an extra expense. I don't want to spend that kind of money on something like this."
Yeah.
And then you have the property managers like Mike and the property manager at that property, where it's like, I'm going to invest into my property to protect everything else.
Yeah.
And that's where water softeners and water quality is like such a huge blessing for these property managers.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have water heaters and faucets and toilets that don't break down as often.
And there's a reason those kind of people work with someone like you, because you're their go-to plumber. Like that's how we met you, was through Colby,
Yeah.
that other person. Because we had met Colby previously, and he talked you up.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I had a really good partnership with him. I have a great partnership with you guys. I think just in business in general, like that's how you grow. Like you take care of your business, partners. You take care of, your clients, like family, and people will come back to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Water quality is huge, and having the right system is huge. I made a mistake. It's still a really good system, but I did not know you guys at the time.
Yeah.
But I had a really good water softener, and I had a house that was being built, and so at my previous house we had sold, we took that system out and installed it at my in-laws' house. So it was in place, so it didn't get destroyed while the other house was being built.
Right.
I talked to my father-in-law beforehand and said, "Hey, can I install this system?" And he said, "No, absolutely not." He said he grew up in Canada next to a creek, and that's how they would shower. He's like, we bathed in creeks.
Good old creek shower.
We don't need high quality water. Like our water's just fine. I swim in creeks. And so I heard that, and naturally, as a great son-in-law, what did I do?
Put it in.
I disregarded everything he said and put it in.
You just put it in behind
I put
his
it
back?
in. Yep.
He didn't know.
He had no clue.
Did you do it in the night?
He was at work. I mean, I didn't take the day. I don't remember what happened, but I installed it, and it was in the house for about 4 months. And I said, "Hey, John, how do you like your water softener?" And he's like, "What water softener? What are you talking about?" And I was like, "I installed it in your basement about 4 months ago." And he's like, "No, you didn't." So he had to physically walk down with me to the basement and look at it. And was like, "Oh, it has been installed for a while."
You're like, yeah,
it is there.
You needed it.
And so when people ask about like water softeners and water filtration, one of the huge objections that I have to it, or customers have to it, and you probably have heard this too, is, it makes my skin feel kind of slimy and gross and slick, right?
Yep.
I just tell people it's because you're slimy and slick.
Well, some of it's because we live in Utah where everybody's used to living like a raisin and dried out. Like your skin's finally moisturized. Like you're welcome. Right. But like the old softeners, the exchange rate between the resin and the water coming in were so imbalanced that you would over sodium, the water, and so people would feel really slick from the sodium.
And
it felt like being in the sea where you feel that kind of slippery because it's that much more sodium in your water. Now they're high. We build a higher quality one and it's custom. That slimy feeling is not.
You don't have any slick feeling.
No, we have a moisturized
taste. Yeah, it's just good.
Yeah. But if they themselves are slick and slimy, they're gonna be slick and slimy. Like, that's just we can't help that.
That's hormones.
But that's funny. Just sneak a system into your family's home. I like that. Everybody take that as a note. Like if your family doesn't want one, but you do, Brady can sneak it in. He'll buy it from us. Sneak it in.
I'll charge a little bit more to work at 2 in the morning.
Right. Yeah. Be really quiet with your crimping. Yeah. So anyway, now we probably should definitely wrap this one up now, but we're going to have Brady back again. Thanks, Brady.
Thanks,
we have
Brady.
too much to talk about.
I know.
Thanks for having me.
We could talk for hours. That's good.